What are your thoughts? What is your reaction to that statement that's being called hate speech?
Yes, I think it was a very dangerous, reckless, and irresponsible statement from the the governor of Kaduna State, who was once a minister and who has held other very important positions in this country. It's exceedingly dangerous because of the potential of such statements to cause the kind of things that a lot of people are worried and apprehensive about in the country. Of course, leading to the election, a lot of people are of the feeling that this is one of the most crucial elections in the history of this country. We've had very important elections. Every general election is exceedingly important. But because of the dynamics of this particular election, because of the fear, the apprehension among the populace about the potential for conflict and crisis, that is why so much attention is being brought to bear upon this election. And so it is not too long ago, about 2 decades now, that statements such as this led to the genocide in Rwanda. And of course, we know the implications, because ultimately, after the whole thing, after the dust had settled down, the international community began to look for the people who had provoked the situation that led to the crisis in Rwanda. And I can tell you that there is nothing different from what el-Rufai has said and the statements that were being made leading to the genocide in Rwanda. It's a most irresponsible statement, and it is exceedingly unfortunate. But I think what is even frightening is the fact that it gives credence to the possibility that there are people of like minds, people with this kind of very dangerous ideological fixation within the louvers of government. And for the government, really, any reasonable, responsible government will do their very best to distance themselves from such statements and from people who make such statements. You do not expect a responsible government to be, defending this kind of statement that is capable
Chude,
of
if I could just come in here. I mean, he was reacting to comments, statements from, which has been going on for a while now, PDP saying that, calling on the international community to, come closely watch the elections, and that if they suspect that the election has been rigged, they will pull out of the peace pact. Now, I don't remember a time when, in this country, at least during elections, when at the end of the day, the losing party did not accuse the winning party of rigging. And so I'm just wondering, I mean, what are your thoughts in terms of the comments, the statements that the PDP has been making, saying that because they're already saying that they believe that the APC is going to rig the election already. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if we want to look at it from a different perspective, let us just remove let us go back to 2015. And 2015, if you go back to 2015, today's APC is 2015's PDP and 2015's PDP, and I mean vice versa. Because what I'm saying exactly is that it's a lot of contradiction here. Because what the APC is doing is exactly what the PDP is doing is exactly what the APC did and felt justified doing what they did, inviting the international community, even when the international community came in and they were warning the political class to ensure that there's proper election, and did everything to ensure, at least to encourage the politicians, the political class, to conduct themselves in a way that is acceptable to international standards, with international standards. The same PDP was complaining about international interference because at that particular point in time, it was not in their favor. And APC was applauding the international community for doing what they were doing, applauding them, for showing responsibility, for showing concern about the affairs of Nigeria, and asking them to do more with regards to interference with the politics of this country. Today, the APC is on the other side because now they are the receiving end. They are the ones that are threatening the international community. They are the ones that are telling the international community to mind their business. And so that's why I say it's a lot of contradiction.
Okay, Chude,
people should be able to walk the talk.
If I could just come in here, we don't have a lot of time now. I mean, sometime last year, there was a proposal for a hate speech bill with very stiff penalties for those found to have gone against the law. But I don't think anything has come from that bill. Do you think that perhaps this is something we should look into? I mean, the hate speech bill and then just clearly define, what hate speech is, and then those who are going to go against it and what the penalties will be?
Yeah. Well, when it came up, people were already suspecting and accusing the government of high-handedness, and trying to victimize people with opposite political views. And so people viewed that action with a lot of distrust, believing that it was an instrument that the government wanted to use against opposition. And so maybe to that extent, there was a little bit of a justifiable feeling about that, that state of anxiety about that particular bill. But with statements such as this, you want to begin to ask yourself whether perhaps we should not begin to revisit this bill. But even beyond that, again, I think the possibility of sanction against the governor should not be taken off the table. Of course, a hate speech is any statement social media in the public that people make that is capable of causing disharmony within the society. These are speeches or statements that are targeted against groups, religious organizations, religious beliefs, ethnic groups, and all of that. Those are capable of stirring the hornet's nest, capable of causing instability and anxiety in the public, possibly leading to breakdown of law and order and then violence. So speeches such as this are hate speeches. There are no two ways about that. Threatening the international community or threatening your fellow citizens, with death for whatever reason, I think is hate speech.